Hi, if you install or upgrade Windows 10 and use Express settings, you are allowing Windows 10 to collect your personal information and send to Microsoft. In this video, I will show how to configure privacy settings and stay private in Windows 10. I will divide into 6 sections as following. First, General Privacy Settings. Second, Wi-Fi Sense. Third, Sync Settings with Microsoft account. Fourth, Windows Update File Sharing. Fifth, Microsoft Edge. And lastly, Windows Smart Screen. Let's start with the first section, General Privacy Settings. On Windows 10 desktop, click on Windows icon at bottom left and select Settings. On Settings, click Privacy. And first, click General on the left menu. On Change Privacy Options, I recommend to turn off the first option to disable target ads, and the third option to stop sending information about how you type and write to Microsoft. Then, open web browser to this URL. And turn off these two options. Second, click Location on the left menu. You can stop Windows tracking your location by turn off this option. You can also clear location history by scroll down on this page and click this Clear button. Third, stop Windows and Cortana get to know you. If you don't use Cortana, a new digital assistant, click Speech, Inking, and Typing on the left menu. Click Stop Getting to Know Me. And click Turn Off to confirm. This will delete collect data stored on your PC and also turn off the personal assistant and dictation functions. Next, click Account Info. If you don't want third-party apps that you install from Windows Store to access your account information, you can turn off this option. However, some apps may require account access. You can choose to allow only specific apps later on this page. On other menus, the concept is the same as Account Info. If you don't want any apps to use the feature, you can turn it off. For example, I don't have camera on my desktop system, so I turn off this feature. On microphone, if you plan to use Windows Voice Recorder, you have to keep this option on and turn off other apps that don't need this access. If you are not sure to turn it on or off, you can leave it as default and come back later when you want to make change. Next, click on Feedback and Diagnostics. When Windows crash or terminate unexpectedly, It will send information about the crash to Microsoft. With the default option, it could send your personal information, part of document you were working on when a crash occurred. To limit information being sent, change this option to Basic. You can check more details about the option on this link below. Next, Wi-Fi Sense. Open Settings. Click Network and Internet. And click Manage Wi-Fi Settings. Windows 10 has a new feature called Wi-Fi Sense, which allows you to share your Wi-Fi or connect to a Wi-Fi network from your Outlook, Skype, and Facebook friends. This is convenient. For instance, if you have friends in your contact list come to your house, they can connect to your Wi-Fi without asking your password. If you don't use this feature, you can turn it off by switch off these two options. Next, sync settings to other device. Open Settings. Click on Accounts and select Sync your settings. The default settings allow you to sync Windows settings such as your themes, web browser settings, passwords to other Windows 10 PCs. In this example, I don't want to use this feature, so I choose to turn it off. Or you can disable this feature by switch to use local account. Click your account on the left menu and click Sign in with a local account instead. Enter your password and click Next. Then enter information about username, password of the local user account. If you don't have any existing local account, Windows will create a new one. And click Next to continue. Click Sign out and Finish to confirm. Next, Windows Update File Sharing. Open Settings. Select Update and Security. Click Windows Update on the left menu. Click Advanced Options. And click Choose how updates are delivered. By default, Windows 10 isn't only download updates from Microsoft servers, but it uses peer-to-peer file sharing to distribute updates. This might be a good idea to speed up distributing updates, but it takes bandwidth of your network. If you don't like this feature, you can configure on this page. The default options allows you to share updates with other PC on your local network and the internet. You can select this option to limit sharing updates within your local network. Or turn this feature off if you don't want other people using your bandwidth to download updates. Next, Microsoft Edge. Open Edge. and click More Options icon at top right. Select Settings. Scroll down and click View Advanced Settings. Scroll down to Privacy and Service section below. These two options are both useful features, which I recommend to keep them on. This option may send your browsing history to Microsoft to predict which page you're likely to visit next. You could turn off this option if you don't like it. And the last option, let Microsoft block malicious websites and downloads. I suggest to keep this option on, as it is useful and usually can prevent you infecting your PC from accessing malicious websites. And finally, Windows Smart Screen. On Windows Desktop, right-click on Windows icon at bottom left and select Control Panel. On Control Panel, select System and Security. Click Security and Maintenance and click Change Windows Smart Screen Settings on the left menu. This feature first appears in Windows 8. It can prevent you from installing potentially malicious programs by sharing with Microsoft about the program you are trying to install. I suggest to keep this feature on. But if you want to turn it off, select Don't Do Anything option and click OK. So that's it for this video. If you have any question or suggestion, please post below. If you like, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.